Hey there, this video is about can a judge reject a plea deal, and do they, in California criminal cases. My name is Veronica. I am a criminal defense attorney here in Los Angeles, and I help people who have been arrested put their criminal cases behind them so that they can enjoy their lives and their freedom. And again, this video is about can a judge reject the deal that the prosecutor and the defense attorney and the defendant all come to? Can the judge say, no, I don't want that deal, that's not acceptable, and refuse to approve it? The answer to that is yes. But the second question is, and do they? The answer to that has actually changed, and let me explain. If you had asked me before George Gascon took office, do California criminal judges, and specifically Los Angeles criminal judges, reject plea deals? My answer would be almost never. And I'll tell you that I'm from Illinois. I went to law school there, and I worked as an intern at a public defender's office there. I had a fantastic mentor, Clarissa, and we were in front of this judge. So I got to actually practice law with her, and she actually gave me quite a lot of responsibility. It was an amazing opportunity. And we were in front of this judge who routinely would say that the deals that we reached with the prosecutor, that we negotiated for, we advocated for our clients, that, hey, give him or her a second chance, the judge would say, no, that is way too lenient of a sentence, routinely. And it was so frustrating because, first of all, you already have a prosecutor's office there. You have an elected official. You have all these very well-trained attorneys doing their job of prosecuting, and the judge is doing it even more. And just with the DAs, we get a longer amount of time to sort of pitch to them the good things about our clients. With the judge, she generally wouldn't give us as much time, so it was very frustrating. And when I actually became an attorney in California. I was never an attorney in Illinois. When I became an attorney here, I was like, this is great. We reach an agreement. I advocate for my client. We reach an agreement, and then the judge accepts it. But so Gascon took office December 7th, 2020. He came to us right when I was in the middle of a 36 count attempted murder trial. And right before, we had already picked a jury. Right before opening statements, the prosecutor called me up, and he didn't sound very happy. And I mean, the guy never really sounded that happy, but he sounded upset. And he said that because of Gascon's directive, so this is right when Gascon took office, the directives had just come out, he had to offer me time served. And I mean, my client was facing life on many of the counts, several times over. And I actually do think, I know people get upset sometimes. I talk about results I get in cases, and they think, oh God, he's a murderer or attempted murderer, he shouldn't have gotten that deal. Well, I actually do think that this client was innocent, and I think we probably would have won the trial, but you never know with a trial. I really do think that he was innocent, and I think giving him time served was just, but the DA sure didn't. So he offered this to me, and I was like, okay, well, yeah, we want to take that. Yes, for sure. Of course, I have to talk to my client, but for sure, yeah, we want to take a time-served offer. We want to avoid, the risk of going to trial. So the next day, I tell my client, and I'm all happy. I'm like, this is great. I don't know how long this Gascon stuff's going to last, but this is a gift. It was December. I'm like, Merry Christmas. This is a gift. You do deserve it. The guy's actually a great dad, just wanted to get out and be with his family. And we bring it in front of the judge. And the judge, of course, she doesn't know anything about the case. She was assigned the case for trial. She hasn't even heard my opening statement, but she's just seeing this guy who did have some criminal history, getting offered time served. And she was very alarmed. So she actually went to the back, to her chambers, for a long time. I don't know, between 30 minutes and an hour, she was back there figuring out, I guess, what the heck to do, because judges here really just very, very rarely, I'd never seen it until this point, they would very rarely reject deals. I don't know if she even knew if she could or not, or what to do. So eventually she comes out, And she tells us, no, I'm not accepting that offer. And I'm like, oh man, like I was so excited. My client, his family, like we were so close. You're rejecting it. But then she offered him 3 years and he took it. And he pretty much got time served at that point. But that was the first time that I saw a judge do that. Excuse me. That was the first time I saw a judge do that. And since that, I've actually seen judges doing this more and more. I actually had an agreement today with a DA that included my client getting fire camp instead of prison, and the judge heard the facts of the case and she doesn't want to do it. And I had that happen recently for another case too, for an attempted murder case where the amount of years that my client was offered by the DA, after lots of negotiating on my part and convincing the DA of this, the judge was not convinced. So now we're trying with another judge. So this is something that as attorneys we need to be prepared for. That it's not just about anymore convincing the DA and the DA's supervisor, but now we have to get ready to convince the judge. And that can be even harder because the judges, many of them are elected officials, and they don't want a headline about how they freed an attempted murderer after, a few years or effectively time served. They don't want those headlines, and God forbid any of them were to do it again, or like in a DUI case, God forbid they were to get out and drink and drive and kill someone. They don't want to be part of that headline, understandably. I know that they all have everybody involved has their sense of morals and ethics about this, but I'm telling you, for most judges, it's also that fear. This is their career on the line that they've worked really hard for, and they don't want to have signed off on something that is going to have bad consequences. And I think that because of Gascon, the pushback that the judges have realized that they need to, if they don't want this to be Gotham City, the judges kind of think, okay, well, we need to push. If the DAs aren't going to do anything, if they have all these directives, then we as the judges need to push back. And now there's a whole lawsuit with Gascon. There's this appeal. A lot of the directives are basically stayed. But what has happened over this past year and a half that I've seen is that the judges increasingly have been getting involved in what is happening here, in terms of how the cases are getting resolved. So again, this is something that now we really need to make sure, it's this trend that's come up. We really need to make sure that we're prepared to convince the judge, just like we convinced the DA and the DA's supervisor, of why our client deserves this deal. I hope that this video helped. If you have any questions, or if you do have a criminal case in Los Angeles, you can go ahead and book a call with me below, or just feel free to call.